Hello, this is Dr. Doomtrain here, and welcome to my first devlog video for my map CP Boardwalk A1. This isn't my first map, this is, I think, my fourth or fifth, but either way. So, this is the A1, so very basic, just started this thing, and I figured I'd make a video about my thought process behind it, what inspired it, what things I really like about it, what things I think are probably going to change when it goes to A2 and stuff like that. So let's get started. So the first thing I did was I actually started backwards, where I started at point C and worked my way back towards point A. Now, the first thing I knew, now initially this was going to be a map called CP Blimp Yard, which was going to be totally frontline themed, but I couldn't really figure out how to turn the blimps in the frontline pack to a small enough size to where I could use them in the map itself. So I ended up having to scrap that idea, and I ended up coming up with this, being pretty inspired by Pier, actually, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite payload maps in the entire game, or one of my favorite maps in the game in general, really. So I went for a similar maritime theme, but using some of the frontline assets, primarily, as you can probably see, the unique skybox here, and some of the pickup patches, which, believe it or not, were one of the last things I did, and I had to not use them on the sand section because for whatever reason it would cause it to not compile correctly, and that was just a gigantic pain in the ass. But anyway, so I started with point C, and one of the first things I actually really wanted to do was use this roller coaster prop that made by Diva Dan, who did most of the detailing for the Halloween map Slaughter, and I'm pretty sure you've also, not Slaughter, the Halloween version of Slaughter Laughter. And I'm pretty sure you all must have also seen this prop in Pier as well, since that uses a few of the assets from that map as well, and I figured maybe I could make it some sort of gameplay element, which this was literally the first thing I did, and I have another video of trying to get the roller coaster part here to actually work correctly, which it does now, thankfully. It doesn't just rocket throughout the path with the scout screaming constantly. But this doesn't activate until point B is captured, and if engineers or someone wants to set up defense here, they have to be careful so that Mr. Scout doesn't run them over here when he's trapped on his roller coaster nightmare. But C gave me quite a bit of difficulty when I got back around to it after I mapped out the rest of the map, because it was very flat and barren, and it still kinda is, so I'm definitely waiting for a lot of the feedback to come from this guy here, but I think it works fine enough. This is the red spawn room. It's very basic. Red will spawn here after B is capped. And obviously multiple routes that go through with this small choke here. And the last second I sort of added this flank route here, and I feel like this might end up becoming a little powerful for blue team, but I'll have to see. Maybe it might equal out considering that red's right there, because I couldn't exactly think of a way to push red back to in a good way, but I'll see on playtesting. And then I made this area here. This area used to be quite a bit bigger, but then I tested with bots for a little bit, which normally you shouldn't do because the bots are complete imbeciles, and they do not act in any way like actual human players would, but they're half decent if you want to.
Mission ends in 60 seconds.
Check like scaling, or if like logic is working, or like if the lighting is half decent so you can make them out. But when I was working around the bots, I actually noticed that this area was pretty overscaled, and I still think it's a little big, but it's not awful. So I'll have to see how that plays. Speaking of the lighting, it's
Mission
definitely a
ends in
little
30 seconds.
darker in here, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm awful at lighting, and I am the person who very much likes not daytime maps, so I kind of just write myself into a corner there. This one came pretty easily to me. It was very much, as you can probably see, it was very much sort of inspired by the midpoint for Suijin, but I wanted to try and give blue team a good way to attack from above. And this was actually kind of a nasty sightline here, which I initially covered up with these fences here, because without it, the sniper could see you from all the way over here, and that is no bueno.
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
But the guy added some cover there,
5,
and I think
4,
it'll play
3,
well.
2, 1.
I'm hoping. Although I will say these doors here are the only ways that blue can enter here. So I have a feeling that might end up causing some problems, so I'll have to see how that plays. Hopefully it's not too bad, but I'm sure I can figure out another entrance if need be. This is the spawn that red starts at the beginning of the round, so they'll come around this way towards A, which I already have some. I already have like some minor detail plans for this guy already. This is probably gonna be like a sort of bar, like you would see at like a typical boardwalk or seaside area where when you're walking around the boardwalk, you just want to go in and grab a drink or some food real quick, and then you move on your merry way. Red team will spawn about here, and then once point B is capped, the blue will start spawning over here, and it'll just guide them through this way, towards the right direction, towards C. Once A is capped, red moves out of here and into the first spawn room. And then some transition areas with some health packs and stuff. This door will be locked up until point A is captured, just to help get blue that edge over it, since typically in attack defend maps it's supposed to be harder to capture as the things go on, so A is should obviously be the first one to be captured, so it's easier. And then speaking of A, here we are, and this is probably the part of the map that I'm actually most proud of, especially since I struggled a lot with creating A, since I had trouble thinking of what the heck I wanted to do with it. All I know is that I wanted it to start in the town area. And I'm honestly pretty proud of what I did with it, with a water route here, a sneaky health kit. You know, you have to breathe the water to go get it. This building though I'm a little iffy on, since only blue can really access it, and the upper area really only has the open sniping window here, and I'm not sure how well that will help blue. Especially since I feel like blue would have an easier time just capturing from the bottom, but who knows. And then we have blue's first spawn. So three exits, as it should be. You know, never make a spawn room that's one exit. That'll just make spawn camping super easy for red. There isn't really one main exit, I'd say. There are pretty much three minor exits. You know, one on either side and one that leads directly to the water route. Which I feel like this might be a little powerful for pyro sharks, but it's really only for this area, and then once you leave A, then that's it. There's no more water. At least not that you can access, of course. And once point A is captured, then blue will move into this spawn room. Just a simple spawn room. You can leave You can exit this way or into the transition building here, which goes up to the higher ground. There's a drop down if you ever want to get back here relatively quickly, or for red to go onto the low ground quick. And that is pretty much it for Boardwalk here. It's pretty a simple 3 CP attack defend. I kind of like it. I'm especially proud of this A point, and I'm definitely a little iffy on B and C, but you know that's what the playtests are for. You know, playtest, get the feedback, that TF2 maps, and adjust it accordingly. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I like what I made here. That's it for the A1 devlog. I will see you guys again for A2 after it's been playtested, and I'll go over the, the changes I made. So that's it.